You can see the screen now, okay, son?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
This is what I asked you to study this time, right? To read on it. So, if you take a look at the second slide here, we have the following information here. It says that if you are given R of t is equal to this f of t, g of t, h of t on this given interval from A to B, t is between A and B, then recall that you can actually rewrite your x to be equal to f of t, your y to be your g of t, and z equal to h of t. Also, we have learned about this before. I do not know if you had, pero sa Maths Year 60, I taught this part. That is the length of two-dimensional parametric curve is given by the integral of the square root of f prime of t squared plus g prime of t squared dt. Meaning to say, you take the first derivative of this function x as well as the first derivative of your function y for two-dimensional. But we are now in 3D, so that because of this, we have to make use of the following. The length of the curve r of t on the given interval from A to B is now, you also have three functions there. That is f prime of t squared, g prime t squared plus h prime t squared dt. You take the square root and you take the integral from A to B, and that would be the length. Now, I presume you already had discussed your integration sa Math 060. You already had that one,
Yes,
integration.
ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Uh, so, in fact, sa high school, meron ding a little bit of introduction sa integration. Nakakuha ka na rin ng integral at saka derivative sa high school.
Apa.
Okay, good. So, when we try to simplify what it meant, it simply means that, so this is actually the magnitude formula. This is the magnitude of r prime of t is equal to the square root of f prime of t squared plus g prime of t squared plus h prime t squared. So, ang nadagdag lang is yung isang function, ha? So, ang arc length this time for a 3D would be simply kaning integral sa inyong magnitude. Okay? So, if you take a look at the example that we had earlier here, you have here, if you're asked to determine the length of this curve on the given interval, the first thing that you have to do is to take the tangent vector and its magnitude. And the tangent vector is given by this one. Pag kinuha mo ang tangent vector nito, you take the derivative. Na? So what is the derivative of 2t? The derivative is 2 with respect to t. No? What's the derivative of 3 sine 2t? The derivative is a derivative ng sine kay positive cosine. But there is a 6 cosine u du, di ba? So 3 cosine 2t times the derivative of 2t is 2. That's why you have 3 times 2. So you have 6 cosine 2t. Clear yan siya, yung derivative?
Yes, pa.
Okay. Similarly, if you take the derivative of 3 cosine 2t, ang derivative ng cosine kay negative sign. Pero du, so what is our du here? dt. That will be 2. No? We will have 2. So 3 times 2 cosine 2t, bali ito, negative na na, negative sign 2t. So you have negative sign, negative 6 sine 2t. Nakuha rin ito ang derivative. From here, you can take the derivative. So, yun
Apa.
yung tangent vector. No? You say tangent vector, you take the derivative isa-isa. And then, when you take its magnitude, formula ng magnitude, di ba, is you take the square root of the square ng mga derivative, yung kaninang value nito. So, you will have the square of that is 4. The square of 6 cosine 2t is 36 cosine squared 2t plus the square of negative 6 is. Pero, di ba, ang formula na yung formula kanina, sa magnitude, i-add up sila, di ba? From here, take a look. Ito, f prime t squared plus g prime t squared plus h prime t squared. So you add up that one. And because the length is given as the magnitude, then take the integral, then yun yung gagamitin mo na formula. So from there, you now have the following, no? Take the, ito, sinolve mo na yung magnitude, pagkuha ng magnitude, at saka kunin yung integral ng magnitude. So you have 0 to 2 pi. By the way, this one is on the interval 0 to 2 pi. So ang gagamitin sa interval, kung ano yung given interval. So from 0 to 2 pi. Okay. So A to B. Your A here is 0, your B is 2 pi. And then because na-compute na yung magnitude, pasok siya sa loob ng integral to square root of 10. But dt lang man yung function. So mean to say, you can, ayun yung mga kailangan i-solve ninyo doon. So you have to identify what is the value from 0 to 2 pi. Ito yung answer ng diretso, di ba? So that's equal to, paano ito sa solve? From here, that's equal to, you have to take out the ayan. Ano ang integral ng dt? Diba t lang man ang integral ng dt? T. Oops, ayaw nagsulat ng proper. Then, evaluated from 0 to 2 pi. And what does it mean? It means that you will have 2 squared of 10. Okay, ang t mo dyan will now be t is from 2 pi minus 0, or that is equal to, okay, ito 2 yan, di ba? 2 times 2 pi, that square root of 10, that will have 4 pi square root of 10, 2 pi square root of 10, 2 square root of 10 minus 0, so minus 0. Kaya ang result is this one. 4 pi square root of 10. Kasi minus 0 naman. Pag i-multiply mo ang 2 square root of 10 with 0. Okay? Matter of cells. So, yun yung mga kailangan natin dyan. Aside from this. Okay? Now, that's the first part. If you take a look at the next example there, we need to take a quick look. So we define arc length to be S of t, 0 to t, magnitude of r prime du. Okay? So, meaning to say, di ba sabi ko nasa example lang yan ninyo. If you're asked to determine the arc length of this function, 2t, 3 sine 2t, 3 cosine 2t, then, what do? You first try to solve for the magnitude. Na-solve naman dito sa example 1. That's why it says from the previous example, we know that the magnitude is equal to 2 squared root of 10. So the arc length of the function therefore is, eto nang gagamitin mo yung formula, which is the integral of, di ba, formula natin sa arc length. Ayan. Pen. So ang formula ng arc length is from here, S of t equals the integral from A to B of, yan, the magnitude of r prime of t dt. But what is the magnitude? Ito man, 2 squared root of 10. That's why you have there 2 squared root of 10. Okay. And this point, that is for S of t. So, yung original na function is du. Ano yan siya, du? Pwede man kasi du yung nakalagay dito. That's why you change it to t. Kasi ang value is from 0 man to, so 0 man to 0 to, okay. Ay, nawala tuloy. Ayaw niya kasi pag may mga circular motion, ayaw niya. Itong A to B, yun yung original formula. But because it's now in terms of t, then you can have 0 to t, 2 squared of 10. Instead of dt, you will have your du. And your variable u, diba, mapalit-palitan man kasi yan, r prime t. This is r of you have 0 to t, substitute ulit. Yun yung missing na steps dito. So that's why you have 2 equal to 2 squared root of 10. Yun yung length. Now, let's take a look at your assignment here. Okay. So your problem, is that okay already? Nasabtan ko siya? Jason?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let's go to the problem that is being asked. I'll give you the rundown of the solution. Let me just see. Yung isa lang, no? Bigyan lang kita ng isa. Kasi ang pinasolve sa inyo is number, anong number? Ang pina-verify?
Yung 1 and 3 po.
1 and 3. So, ang 2 na lang ang isolve ko. 1 and 3 lang? So,
Yes, ma'am.
okay. So, I'll solve number 2. So,